Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So we've got the Orange Crush 10 out again. This time I've got it wired into my GT-100 pedal board processor, and we're going to go through some effects. Now I set the amp up so that it's running really clean. Alright, so we've got the gains at 9 o'clock, and the master is sitting at 10. Okay. And we're going to start with some distortion, and we're going to go to like an acoustic simulator, see how well it does for that, and we'll probably try a few other effects, and just to see how well this thing actually will take pedals going with a clean signal at the amp itself to start with. And because its own built-in distortion and gain is kind of bleh, I mean, what amps aren't, right? Anyways, let's have a little bit of fun here. So I got my Epiphone Les Paul Special 2. And then we're going to bring out the Strat as well, and so you got a good thing to compare them with, between single coil guitar and humbucker. Alright, so that's called high gain stack. I'm just working with the presets on the board. So we're going to go to one called Power Metal Riff. Now let's push the preamp to the max into the amp. Now my output level, of course, is not maxed. It's only at 12. This is called natural clean. Okay, let's go to that acoustic simulator. that's our Epiphone Les Paul Special 2. So we've got a clean amp signal. We used a clean effect with it. High gain stack, the power riff, and of course our acoustic simulator. Now, I think that this guitar did a really wonderful job, to be honest. Now, I am recording this with a camcorder, so as always, use good quality headphones, good quality speakers for your computer, and or you have the option to get some nice powered monitors, studio monitors to hook to your computer to get the best audio reproduction playback, even being recorded with a camcorder, which has some really good stereo mics in it. Anyways, and it gives you an idea of my room acoustics at the same time. I'm not a real fan of miking up amps, you know, but I have done it, and I do have a really good mic for doing it with. But I want to give you guys more of the natural thing, right? Like if you're at a concert, you're going to film with your iPhone or a camcorder anyways, right? And concerts are a totally different sound than what they do in the studio. But either way, we want to give you guys the most fairest example of what this thing sounds like, or any of the stuff I demo actually sounds like, by just going raw footage in, because that, to me, is your best bet, okay? Alright, so I'm not touching any settings on the amp itself. The only thing I'm going to be running is the foot pedal for the pedal board. So we're going to start it at about half. And we're going to start again, high gain setting. And I'm just going to go through the pickups here. So sorry I'm not looking at you. I'm trying to pay attention to all this stuff. Now, one thing you hear right away is this thing is a lot lower in volume. That's because it's single coil pickups. So let's put her to the floor. Okay? Back to this natural. Oh, I've got one more to go. Alright, natural clean. A lot more crispy with single coils. Now this amp does not have reverb in it, by the way, so any reverb effect you're hearing is whatever Boss did with the patches. Okay, this one's called Power Metal Riff. this is called Acoustic Simulator. We need more volume, Scotty. Let's bring the output of the board up to about 3 o'clock. Push a little more signal into the amp. Even turning that up really doesn't help a whole lot with single coils. Okay, what else can we do here for a little bit of fun? Overdrive 1 plus distortion. So let's bring the volume on the master up about 12 o'clock. Give it a little bit more. Alright, let's just go back to the high gain sac for a minute. Floor is floored. A little bit more gain. That gives us some good volume. Let's go back to the acoustic sim. Okay, so if you put the master at 12 on this, you put your main gains at around 10 o'clock. Pedal board output level is at the middle at 12, and the pedal itself for the volume pre-out is full out. But we can get more. Just turn the output level knob up, 3 o'clock. That starts to break up too much. Back to 12 o'clock position. Way too tinny there. Okay, so single coil guitar, humbucker guitar on the pedal board with the amp running as clean as we can possibly get it. If you haven't checked it out yet, check out my demo and review video. I actually went through all 4 of my present electrics because I am waiting for my replacement Telecaster to come in. So I can't do a Tele, and it really doesn't make much difference, but I did try all 3 of my Les Pauls and my Strat with just the amp itself. This video is about seeing how well it goes against a pedal board, and I think, you know what, for your absolute best experience with this amp, if you're just going to play straight clean, don't even bother with pedals or effects of any kind. If you want dirty, don't use the built-in dirty because it's really not the greatest. Use a pedal board or pedals. You know, I use pedal processor boards because I can do whatever I want and I can arrange my effects chain any way I want, all electronically, and it's in a nice compact little package. Okay, and I build patches for each song I'm going to do, which is very convenient, and I can name the patch the name of the song. So for me, a pedal board processor is actually the way to go, to be honest. And like I said, it's a huge space saver. I mean, with the amount of effects that are built into something like even the GT-100, if you had every single one of those pedals as a separate pedal, it would take up literally 3/4 of the size of my room of floor space, probably more. It's ridiculous, and like literally thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of effects, especially if they're all Boss. So Boss put everything into one nice little package for under $700, so that's great. Anyways, that being said, the amp does take a pedal board, or would take pedals, extremely well. Okay, you just got to really watch you don't drive your output or your board too high. Now, my best results are with the output level right at 12 o'clock on the dial, and of course my pedal was all the way down, which is fine, but that gives me still very, very clean sound, whether it's a distorted sound or whether it's a clean amp patch or an acoustic simulator patch or pedal. It stays really nice and clean for all that stuff. So overall, it is exactly what I said it was. For the star rating and the review was a 4 out of 5. I did pick on a few things with it, and that's fine, but nothing's perfect, right? And sometimes, you know, nothing perfect isn't the only thing you got to be concerned about for negatives. It's what else did you find negative about the amp? And I did find some negatives. But I think with the guitars and the pedal board, it's a great option to go with. Now, my Les Paul with 57 Classics, as far as I was concerned, it was fine on the clean, but when it came to distortion with the amp, it really sucked. I really didn't like these pickups. I did not like the sound that was coming out of the amp. It was just, to me, very, very bad. And that was just using the built-in stuff. So I'm going to take a quick second here. Now we're on the high gain stack. Now this is my Les Paul Studio, of course, with the 57 Classics. Let's try that with this clean. Now the guitar going straight clean, great. Okay, it was the distortion built into that. So let's see what happens here. I'm still floored on the pedal. Now these are some pretty high output pickups. Find we have to pull that back. These are very high output. Okay, that was in single coil. Let's try the humbucker mode. Pedal to the metal. Natural clean. back the treble a little bit on the guitar. Pull back a little bit on the output level of the pedal board. Pretty nice. So let's go back to the power metal thing. Now again, we pull back the volume pedal allowance. Full back. I think that's great. I think it's just been redeemed. So, 57 classics through the pedal board, with this amp running clean on the amp itself. That is amazingly good. Let's try the acoustic simulator. That's about half output on the pedal. Definitely, the bridge pickup was great with the acoustic sim. Had some decent volume levels here and there, right? And this thing can get really nice and obnoxious, and we're not even pushing the amp that hard. So that's all good. So the 57 classics have redeemed themselves. So if you watched my review video, you'll know that I was really not thrilled with the distortion with the 57 Classics with the built-in distortion on this amp. But with the effects, on the other hand, things are really, really good. Of course, you do still have to watch you don't overdrive the amp too much, because then you're just killing your signal, right? But that's normal with, you know, pretty much any amp. So it still doesn't change the, you know, my final, you know, review that I did with the fact that I still rated this thing at, you know, 4 out of 5, because I think it's still fine that way. But I think for your best possible experience with this amp, on clean, keep it clean as possible, and still getting the louder volumes. You know, push the levels until you get a nice enough balance that it's really loud on clean without breakup. Okay, so it's a clean sound. And then whop your pedal board in front of it and say, here, take this. And I think you'd be very happy with the results with the pedal board, and then just watch how much you push your board. Find out what your limits are. I mean, come on guys, it's a 10 watt amp with a 6-inch speaker. It is only going to do so much for you, okay? But if you want to get the most out of this amp and the most performance and the best sound quality, then I would definitely say going for putting your pedals or pedal board processor on it and dialing in the amp up top. Now, I've left the bass, mid, and treble on all my demos of this with every guitar all at 12 o'clock, because that's where it's best sounded for its own natural state, is at 12 o'clock on bass, mid, and treble. You can shape the tone from there. You know, if you find that you can't take away enough shrill with your tone control on your guitar, well then, try your dials on the amp. You got to learn to dial stuff in anyways, right? So that's where I'm going to put this and leave it. Let me know what you guys think of this thing on the pedal board. Now, the GT-100 is just one example. If you want to know about the specs of the GT-100, just go to Boss's website. It's still a current selling product, and it's like under 700 bucks Canadian. So I don't know what it is in the States. But, and then of course you have your GT-1000 board. Yeah, the creme de la creme of all boards. Anyways, yeah, very awesome board. But so is this one. It's a good competitor anyway. But there we have it. So that's our Orange Crush 10 watt with a 6-inch speaker in it. Great little amp overall. Very happy. So that's good. And thanks so much for checking out these videos. And hopefully with the information between my demo and review and this demo, that'll make your decision up one way or another which way you would really want to go with this amp. Now also keep in mind, we all record differently with stuff. You know, some guys mic up and they alter the sound, so it's kind of very deceiving. Other people, you know, like myself, I like to try and go as much raw footage as possible without miking up anything. I do have gear that does go into my mixing system, and I can, you know, bypass the room acoustics that way. So you would get a non-acoustified sound, okay? So no room sound acoustics would be involved, right? But the thing is, in real life, you are dealing with room acoustics. Whether they're good acoustics in your room or crummy, you're dealing with it. So this is why I like to do my videos without processing stuff or, you know, doing into over processing. I give you guys the good straight up. This is what it is. You know, this is what it's going to sound like in my area. Okay. Now, even when I played my Boss Katana 2 amp, I played it here because I did the unboxing at the house. I took it into Long McQuaid to do a demo with the white Telecaster that I had bought. And that room is totally different too. And volume levels had to change. Acoustics are way different, okay? So that's one area to another. And sometimes you have to make adjustments and allowances for that because every area is going to be different. Your amp will sound different in different areas. So this is how my gear sounds in this area, you know, and that's just the way it is. That's how it goes. So, you know, so remember, if you're looking at amplifiers, this you won't buy new anymore. You can find them used. So if you're looking at this particular amp to buy it, make sure you bring your favorite go-to axe with you. In other words, your favorite guitar, be it a Strat, a Tele, a Les Paul, your main go-to guitar that you play the most, because that's the most important one in my books. To hear what your pickups sound like through this amp yourself, okay? And just keep in mind, when you leave his house with the amp or her house with the amp, it's going to sound different in your own house. So you may have to make adjustments for putting it up on a chair or an amp stand, or maybe you prefer, it might be better to leave it on the floor, maybe angle the cabinet that way to get that sound and dial things in. Anyways, that's it. That's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks again for watching, and hey, catch you on the next one. See ya.